Recently, I embarked on a major rendering trip. Not much modeling this time, but a lot of rendering, and it kind of brought me back to a realization that I had the other day. That is photography. Well, actually, it's not a new thing, because you have me, you hear me talking about photography all the time. But I just realized again how important it actually is, or how helpful, that you kind of understand. Let's say, I think design is a lot of things. Design is thinking about technical bits. Design is about understanding people, use cases, marketing, whatever. But design is also just giving shape to a thing, and giving shape to a thing, understanding surfaces, is closely linked to light. And there's basically no better way of practicing working with light or understanding light, what light does, than photography. Because I think I might have mentioned it before, when I go taking photos, of course I'm looking for interesting subjects and situation, but a lot I am looking actually for good light, or interesting light, or what light does to make mundane things look special. That's the magic that light does. And maybe a yacht is not mundane, the side deck of a yacht is not mundane, the superstructure, but it is the light that gives it a shape. So you have to understand what light does, and it becomes very clear. And that's why I always also said that rendering is not something that I would ever outsource to other people. Rendering is something that I would like to do, because while I move the object around and move the sun around to illuminate the object, I really look into the light again, and I use that for reviewing the design. And this kind of quality control, I think, to me has always been very important. And again, it's even if you're past the rendering process and you are diving deep into the marketing and sales, this is kind of you have a shape that you think you managed to make look good. You have to sell it well, so you actually have to render it well, and that means render it, making renderings that look good, renderings that tell an interesting story or a good story. And that's when I really dive deep into my photography knowledge and try to illuminate things in a great way. Because let's say, if you place your light next to the camera, like you would do with a flashlight, you might have noticed it in flashlight images, they're always flat. So a flat surface, or even the most exciting surface, when illuminated flat, doesn't tell a good story. Which means you have to move the light, and you have to, I move the light in a way that I would actually move myself probably around objects or subjects, when I take photos. That is to make them look good, to bring out the shapes, the contours, but also create a story that is balancing the highlights, the darks, or in other cases make super strong contrast that really pinpoints certain areas while leaving everything else in the dark. So all these things, all these tricks are actually, you learn not just by doing them and by doing more renderings and see how people react to certain renderings and then do more. So, and because let's say if you are just within your little world and you just do again and again and again and again, you might find out that actually you do the same thing again and again and again. So that's why you have to look outside. And in that respect, I find it very useful to look into photography, and photography is then yeah, how do I make something look good by working with the light, and what I can do with an actual object in real life, I can do in very much the same way when I do a rendering. Yes, it is true, especially, that is, you might argue this is something, more modern, that comes from that comes now from our era of doing 3D models and renderings, where you kind of can't cheat. While in the old days, when you did Photoshop, or even before when you did, just with the pen and markers, you could cheat left, right, and center. You still can cheat a little bit, but what I'm saying is, by understanding what happens in real life, you can then translate that into your renderings, and you can make those renderings just look better than anything else, better than the others. It's a competitive world out there, isn't it? So I think if you are indulging into photography and really try to learn light through photography, you can ultimately be a better designer, and I might actually even think a more successful designer, because a rendering is a way of selling your design. So if you have a better tool to sell, then you're more likely to be successful, right? Tell me what you think. Hit the like button if you like it. If not, no hard feelings, and I'll see you next time.